Anthony Mackie, thank you so much for doing the show. It's always good to see you, buddy. Is the family safe? Everyone okay?
Everybody's great. New Orleans, I have to say, as rambunctious of a city as it is, everybody kind of stepped up and did their part and quarantined, and we took care of each other. So I'm very proud of everybody in my city.
On top of that, we obviously the country's dealing with the murder of George Floyd and racism and police brutality. How are you dealing with all of that?
It's interesting. Just being a father of sons. You have to open your kids' eyes to the world they live in. And when I was growing up, like most boys, you want to be a fireman or a police officer. You want to be, a first responder in some way. And then it comes the harsh reality of the day that you have to tell your kids that, you have to open their eyes to what the world is around them, to how police view them as young Black men. So, it's a tricky slope, because I want my boys to have those dreams. I want my boys to look at police and, officials in the military and police as in a higher esteem. But at the same time, you have to be honest with them about what happened. My 10, my 11, and my 7-year-old, I sat them down and, we had a long conversation about it. And, they get it, but they don't understand the lack of humanity in a person to do that to another person. And they're 11 and 7 years old, and they can't understand someone's ability to do that when their code of honor is to protect and serve.
Yeah. Not
to enslave and destroy. So, I try to be open and just, that's my biggest thing, is my boys, is for them to know the world around them. Because, I truly believe, I look at my kids' sons, this is a generational thing. Everybody 40 and over, we're done. Like, just send us out to pasture. But our kids are the ones, your kids, our kids look at each other as human beings. They don't have the stigma and the weight of bigotry and racism on their shoulders. They can just be human beings. And in 3 generations, everybody gonna look like Steph Curry anyway.
Well, we've been having these conversations, and a lot of intelligent people have been saying, this is a movement that it's unprecedented. They haven't seen anything like this. Not
right.
Only it's because of the length, it's been going on for 2 weeks now, but also all the ages and races of people
right.
protesting.
Right.
I've never seen it. So hopefully, I think there has to be change. And we just can't.
We can't. And that's my friends and I got together, 4 of my friends and I, we're sitting down in Atlanta before the whole pandemic came about. And we came up with the idea of what's the most important thing we can do. When I had a movie called The Banker that came out this year. I was able to do the premiere at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis, Tennessee. And it really, it changed my life.
Wow.
It was crazy because I had never experienced anything of that magnitude, what my grandparents, what my parents, my aunts and uncles went through coming back from war and being Black in America in the 50s and 60s. And I was able to stand out on the balcony where Martin Luther King was assassinated. And it blew my mind to think that this man worked so hard and gave his life. And here we are, 55 years later, dealing with the exact same thing. And that's what hurts, because I know my grandfather was a sharecropper. My dad was a contractor. And he had to drop out of school in 8th grade to work with his grandfather so that he could give me the opportunity to go to Juilliard and be a stupid actor.
Yeah.
So we can't, when I saw that, my friends and I got together and we said, we have to do something. And we realize there's power in numbers. We have a great opportunity right now to change the scope of the world. And I realize all the time, and I say to these people, if a sheriff is an elected position, a mayor is an elected position, our president is an elected position, your DA is an elected position. So we started a website called I'mAman.vote. And our goal is to register 1 million men to vote. And we're going to do everything we can so that these people that are jeopardizing the future for our kids, you want to hurt somebody, you get rid of their job, and you put somebody in that position who can actually help. Because so many people out here, it's just not right. So I ask everyone, I'mAman.vote. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Go to our website. If you have a nephew, if you have a cousin, if you have a friend, if you have a young man who needs information, send him to this website. Send him to our page. We will register him. We will educate him. And we will help him vote. Because that's our power. That's where the strength comes in.
Yeah.
No one understands the magnitude, the power of what your vote means. In Atlanta last week, they had voter suppression rallies because they're delivering the polls the morning that these people are supposed to vote. So how are they supposed to vote? Only in Black neighborhoods. So now what you do is, I want people to vote early. You vote a month early. You vote 2 weeks early. So we don't have 10,000 people at the polls. If we vote 10,000 a day, when it comes the day to vote, we could do all elderly people.
If you know who you're voting for now, do it.
Do it. Go vote right now. And you can do that. You can vote a month before. If you know who you're voting for, go vote now. And we owe it to ourselves to show how powerful we are as a community and as a group. Because everybody out there marching and protesting, if you're marching and protesting, if you really want to hurt them, if you really want to be heard, register to vote.
More with Anthony Mackie when we come back, everybody.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on and on and on.